Hi everyone and welcome. This is an English lesson for the third grade high school students, and today we are going to learn how to present a tourist destination. For this lesson, you will need your notebook, something to write with, and a smartphone or a laptop with internet connection. In order to do some exercises, you will have to pause the video. When you see the pause button on the screen, it will be your signal to pause the recording in order to do some exercises. You will use adjectives for describing tourist destinations. Analyze the structure of a presentation as well as give your own oral presentation using functional language. We will start today's lesson with a video presenting a tourist destination. I don't know if any of you have ever been to Romania, but I'm sure many of you will feel like going there after watching the video. While watching the video, you will pay special attention to how the destination was introduced, what is mentioned in the body of the presentation, what kind of things and places. You don't have to give names, just in general. As well as how it was finished. Scan the code or copy the bit.ly link TTD Romania and do the exercise. You should pause the video now. Did the video make you want to visit Romania? Romania is a really beautiful country. But back to the presentation structure. It was easy to spot the introduction. It consisted of two parts, general introduction and the roadmap to the presentation, what exactly it is going to be about, Bucharest and Transylvania. In the main part of the presentation, some towns, villages and regions were mentioned, as well as castles, buildings and streets. They also suggested taking Transfigurania Road in order to see the beautiful countryside of Romania. In addition, we were recommended to visit some cafes and restaurants. And we mustn't forget Vlad the Impaler. He was used as a model for Dracula. The presentation was finished with a simple conclusion, but it rounds up the presentation pretty well. We are going to watch the video once again. This time you will take out the adjectives and announce their describing. There are many of them, so don't worry if you miss some. Pause the video in order to watch it and make notes. The bit.ly link is TTD Romania, or you can just scan the code. Is your list similar to mine? Did you note down quaint, unusual restaurants? Or maybe diverse culture, a culture showing a great variety? What about lush, rich green hills? Or stunning, extraordinary, impressive interior design? Picturesque passageway is attractive and beautiful. I hope you haven't forgotten bustling, busy crowds. I would like you now to pick 6 of these collocations and write your own sentences about your town or the area where you live. Check your sentences with your virtual classroom teacher. You can pause the video here. Okay, we have analyzed a video presentation about a tourist destination, but now we are going to learn how to deliver a good presentation about our town or region as a tourist destination. Let's see how it's done. What is a good presentation? What are its components? What do you think? I'm sure you all agree that what we are going to talk about is very important. Also, what we look at during a presentation is important. They say a picture is worth 100 words. And finally, how we present the content is significant. The language you use, our body language, the way we organize a presentation. Let's go back to the content. You already have what you are going to present. In our previous lessons, you have created some materials. You have written two texts, one about your town as a tourist destination and another one about a historic figure from your area. You have also created a mind map about cultural heritage in your town, which is a good starting point for creating a presentation. If you haven't done any of these things, you still have time. We'll come back to this later. As for a visual aid, PowerPoint presentation, infographic, or poster can be very helpful when delivering a presentation. Presentation skills are a vital element. If you have good content, great pictures, but you don't present them well, you're not going to deliver a good presentation. How to create a good PowerPoint presentation and how to present it in front of audience plays a crucial role. We will start with PowerPoint presentations. I'm sure you have created many so far. But were they always good? What was your teacher's feedback? We have prepared matching exercise for you. You will have to connect the sentence parts in order to get the rules for a successful presentation. You can scan the code or copy the bit.ly link now. PowerPoint DD. Let's discuss these rules a little bit. They are very simple and logical, and yet we tend to forget them. We should use easy-to-read fonts. What does this mean? This means we should use fonts like Arial, Times New Roman, or something similar. Also, the font should be big enough for everyone to be able to read it. The font should be in light colors if the background is dark, and vice versa. If the background is light, the font should be dark. As for the image, it should be high quality. It should be pleasant to look at even when you spread them across the whole slide. And the content on the slides? It should be minimal. Just a few bullets. Sentences shouldn't be put into bullets. You should write a plan of your presentation at the beginning. This helps the audience follow your presentation. One big no for PowerPoint is overcrowding. One picture with a couple of keywords is enough. The text on the slides is once again for the audience. You can use it just as a reminder what you should talk about next. Now that we know how to design a good PowerPoint presentation, we need to talk about oral presentation. What are the do's and don'ts of presenting in front of an audience? In this exercise, you will group the statements into two groups, do's and don'ts. What should we do and what shouldn't we do when giving an oral presentation? Copy the bit.ly link Oral Presentation 5 or scan the code and sort out the rules. You should pause the video now. This is a bit.ly link, ban text, to our text about Ban Josip Jelačić. This text is going to be transformed into oral presentation, at least parts of it. You are going to do the same with one of your texts, the one about your town as a tourist destination, or the one about historical figure. Or if you haven't written any, do some research either about your town or about a historical figure. Organize it in 3 parts: introduction, body, and conclusion, and don't forget to link your ideas with linking words. Also, don't forget using the adjectives from the beginning of the lesson. How can we transform a written text into an oral presentation? With signpost language, of course. You may wonder, what is signpost language? It's the words and phrases that help guide the listener through the presentation. In this matching exercise, you will match the signpost language with different parts of the presentation. Copy the bit.ly link signpost language or scan the code and have fun. After you finish the exercise, you should copy it into your notebook. It will come in handy when writing your own narration. You can pause the video here. Let's apply what we have learned. This is how we can introduce the topic. Just say, I'm going to talk about a famous Zaprešić tourist site, Novi Dvori Estate. Next, explain the structure of the presentation, like this. First, I'll tell you something about Ban Josip Jelačić and his connections with Novi Dvori, then I'll move on to the estate itself, and finally, I will finish off with the activities Novi Dvori have to offer to tourists. This way, the audience knows what I will talk about and how long it might last. When you move between subjects inside the presentation, signposting plays an important role. You're signing the audience that you're moving to something new. Like, let's start with Ban Josip Jelačić. You will probably have pictures or other visuals in your presentation, and maybe you will want your audience to pay special attention to it. You can simply say, you'll notice that he was always portrayed as a soldier. You may also want to give an example. In this case, just say, Ban Josip Jelačić was a great patriot and reformer. To illustrate this point, he fought for the right to use Croatian as an official language, and he abolished serfdom and tax paying. Sometimes, instead of using a signpost language to start a new subject, you will use signpost for finishing the subject, like, well, I've told you all about Ban Josip Jelačić. When you're getting to the end, you'll want to summarize, to repeat important aspects of your presentation. You may say something like, in conclusion, Novi Dvori is a great tourist destination. If you happen to be in the vicinity of Zaprešić, stop by and enjoy its cultural and historical background. And finally, you have to end the presentation. This is one way of doing it. That's all from me today. Thank you for listening. So, now, it's your turn. Write the narration for one of your texts. Don't forget the signposts. Practice saying it aloud and then record yourself. You can use Wakaru. Your teacher from Virtual Classroom can give you feedback. And the final activity, assessment. What do you think? Which 2 things were you good at? And what can you improve I hope you had fun today. Till next time. Bye!